Here is a single 60-year-old in America buying their own health insurance. At an income of $62,000 a year, they pay about $500 a month. Now let them earn $2,000 more, $64,000. Their premium jumps to over $1,200 a month. That is more than $8,000 a year gone for earning $2,000 more. They did not get sicker. Their plan did not change. They crossed a line, and on the far side of that line, the help they were getting does not shrink a little. It disappears all at once. This is called a cliff. And the important thing about a cliff is that it is not a fact of nature. Someone drew it. The interesting question is not whether the government should help people buy insurance. It is why, when it decided to help, it built the help as a cliff you can fall off by earning a single dollar. Here is the specific thing that just happened. For 5 years, from 2021 through 2025, the U.S. ran a more generous version of its health insurance subsidies. The key feature was simple. No matter how much you earned, your premium for a standard benchmark plan was capped at 8.5% of your income. Earn more, and the subsidy shrank smoothly. There was no edge to fall off. That enhanced version expired on the last day of 2025. And for 2026, the old rule came back. A rule with a hard line in it, at 400% of the federal poverty level. For a single person in 2026, that line sits at about $62,000. For a family of 4, about $128,000. Below the line, you get help. At exactly the line, you still get help. $1 over it, and your subsidy is not reduced. It is zero. Nothing gradual, no phase out, a wall. And because the size of that subsidy can be many thousands of dollars a year, that $1 can be the most expensive dollar you ever earn. For an older couple, it gets sharper still. The 2026 rules also scrap the limit on how much subsidy you have to pay back. So a couple who took the help through the year and then earned $1 too much can be handed a bill at tax time for the whole thing, around $20,000. This is not a small tweak to a program. Millions of people are paying, on average, more than double what they paid the year before, and several million are expected to drop their coverage entirely. Now, the fight you will hear is the usual one. One side says these subsidies are too expensive and should stay expired. The other says they are a lifeline and should come back. That is a real fight about how much a country should spend, but it is not the most useful thing to look at because it is only about the size of the help. Look instead at the shape of it. Whatever you think the government should spend, notice that it chose to end the help with a cliff, a single income line where everything stops at once, rather than letting it fade out gently. And that shape is a choice made separately from the size. The very same subsidy for the very same money can be built as a cliff or as a ramp. For 5 years, it was a ramp. Then someone let it snap back to a cliff. That shape is what we are going to look at because it shows up in far more than health insurance. So think about what a cliff actually does. Economists have a plain way to measure it. They ask, for each extra dollar you earn, how much of it do you actually get to keep after taxes and after any help you lose? Most of the time, that number is under 100%. You earn $1, you keep at least some of it. At a cliff, that number goes insane. You earn $1 and you lose thousands. Put it the other way around as a tax on that $1, not 40%, not even 90, but thousands of percent. You are briefly punished for earning more. Now, why would anyone build that on purpose? They usually did not sit down and choose the wall. The wall is just the laziest way to aim help at the people who need it most. You have to stop the help somewhere, or it costs too much and reaches people you did not mean to reach. Drawing one clean line, help below this number, nothing above it, is the simplest possible way to do that. It is cheap to write into law and easy to explain. The brutality only shows up at the edge for the people who land right on it. And we know it does not have to be this way because for 5 years, it was not. The enhanced version capped premiums at a share of income and let the help fade out with no line at all. Same goal, same kind of subsidy, just a ramp instead of a wall. The cliff came back not because it had to, but because the smoother version was allowed to expire. And here is the part that makes this bigger than one program. This shape is everywhere in how governments help people. Food assistance, the child tax credit, help with health coverage, tax credits for low earners. Each one has to fade out as your income rises. And they tend to fade out around the same stretch of income, so they pile up. A family climbing out of low income can hit food assistance shrinking and a tax credit shrinking and health help shrinking all at once. Stacked together, that family can lose most of each new dollar they earn, sometimes more than the whole dollar. They are working harder and ending up with less. But there is an honest catch here, and it is the whole reason this is hard. A ramp is not free either. Any help that is aimed at lower incomes has to shrink as income rises, and shrinking help, spread over a range, is still a tax on earning more. It is just a gentle slope instead of a wall. You can soften the cliff, but you cannot make the trade-off vanish. You can only choose where to put it and how steep to make it. The clearest proof that this can be done well is a program both parties actually like, the tax credit for low-wage workers. It is built as a ramp on purpose. It grows as you earn more at the bottom, holds steady, then eases down. It rewards work instead of punishing it. The tools to build a ramp exist. The cliff is a choice not to use them. So if a country wants to help people afford something, health coverage, food, rent, without building a wall, they can fall off. What can it do instead? 3 designs already exist, and each one has a price. The first is the simplest. Turn the wall into a ramp. Instead of cutting help off at a line, cap what people pay at a share of their income and let the help fade out smoothly above it, which is exactly what the expired version did. The price is money and reach. A ramp that never fully stops means the help climbs further up the income ladder, so it costs more and goes to people some would say do not need it. You have not removed the trade-off. You have spread it out, but nobody falls off an edge. The second goes the other way. Give the help to everyone and claw it back through the income tax as people earn more. Because the tax system already knows your income and adjusts smoothly, there is no single cliff. The help just quietly tapers through your tax bill. The price is that paying everyone up front is expensive and politically reads as handing money to people who do not need it, even if they pay it back. And the clawback is still a tax on earning more. It is just hidden inside the tax code instead of sitting at one visible wall. The third is about coordination. Since the real damage comes from many programs fading out at once and stacking, you merge them or line up their fade-outs into a single gentle slope, the way some countries fold several benefits into one payment that tapers at one steady rate. The price is complexity. It takes agencies that guard their own programs to move together, and a single slope is still a slope. Set it too steep and it bites, smooth it too far, and you drag help high up the income ladder again. Notice what none of these does. None of them says stop helping. Each one asks the same question a different way. How do you bring help back down to zero? Without building a wall, someone can fall off by earning $1. So come back to that 60-year-old, $500 a month on one side of a line and $1,200 on the other. The headline will be about Obamacare and about whether Congress should bring the bigger subsidies back. That is a real question about how much to spend, but underneath it is something more durable, and it lives in almost every program that helps people. A decision about the shape of help, whether it fades out on a slope you can walk down or ends at a wall you fall off. There can be good reasons to aim help at the people who need it most, and every such program has to end somewhere. But ending it with a cliff is a choice, not a requirement. And a cliff quietly punishes the exact thing we say we want, which is people earning their way up. So the next time a benefit is debated as simply too generous or not generous enough, that is only the argument about size. The more useful question is about shape. When we build help, why do we so often build a cliff? And who decided that $1 extra should cost you $20,000?